Hello, hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to all our listeners joining us today. I'm Lily, and I am absolutely thrilled to be greeting you from our high-tech, sun-filled recording studio right here in New York City. Can you hear the city outside? Manhattan is buzzing with its signature energy this morning, and we've brought all that vibrant inspiration into the studio for you.
And I'm James. It is truly wonderful to be back in the studio with you, Lily, and with all of you tuning in from around the world. There is something special about recording in New York. It's a place where every second counts, and every meeting feels like a new beginning.
You are so right, James. Today, we're diving into a topic that I know many of our listeners struggle with, including myself. We're talking about first impressions. You know, that nervous feeling when you meet someone for the first time and you want everything to be perfect, but you're worried your English might not be enough.
It's a universal feeling, Lily, but that is exactly why we are here. Our goal today is twofold. First, we want to help you sharpen your English listening skills by immersing you in real, natural conversations. But second, and perhaps more importantly, we want to help you develop the growth mindset you need to navigate these social situations with confidence.
I love that. It's not just about learning words, it's about learning how to live and grow in a global environment. By listening to this podcast, you're not just studying a language, you're absorbing the mindset of a confident communicator.
Exactly. We will break down the secrets of what makes a great impression in American culture, analyze some high-impact vocabulary, and share some deep reflections that you can apply to your life immediately after this episode.
So grab your favorite cup of coffee, find a comfortable spot, and let's get started. Whether you're walking through the streets of a big city or listening from the comfort of your home, we're so happy to have you with us. James, are you ready to unlock the power of first impressions?
I'm ready when you are, Lily. Let's dive in.
Well, James, that was a great intro. Now let's really get into the heart of the matter. First impressions. To be honest, just hearing those two words makes my heart beat a little faster. In a city like New York, where everyone seems so busy and successful, I feel like I have to be perfect from the very first second. Is that just me, or is that a New York thing?
It's definitely a New York thing, Lily, but it's also a human thing. Actually, you'd be surprised to know that even the most successful people here feel that pressure. But here is the secret. A first impression isn't about being a superhero, it's about connection. When we meet someone, our brains are hardwired to ask two simple questions. Can I trust this person, and is this person capable?
Trust and capability. That makes sense. But wait, you mentioned earlier that it only takes 7 seconds? 7 seconds. In those 7 seconds, I've probably haven't even finished my first sentence. If I'm at a job interview near Wall Street, for example, what is the very first thing they see before I even say good morning?
Well, actually, they see your energy. And in the professional world, energy is translated through your posture. If you walk into a room with your shoulders slumped and your head down, you are communicating, I am tired or I am not confident. But if you stand tall, imagine a string pulling you up from the top of your head, you communicate, I am present and ready.
I see. So posture is like my silent introduction. And what about the face? I know Americans value smiling, but sometimes I worry that if I smile too much, I might look, well, unprofessional or maybe a bit naive.
That's a common concern for many international learners. However, in American culture, a smile is a tool of openness. It doesn't mean you aren't serious about your work. It means you are easy to work with. Think about it this way. New York is a tough city. When you give someone a warm, genuine smile, you are making their day a little easier. It breaks the ice instantly.
Breaks the ice. I love that idiom. It means to make a socially awkward situation more comfortable, right?
Exactly. And once the ice is broken, we move to the next step, the handshake. Now, I know some people prefer a wave or a nod these days, but in a formal setting in the US, a firm handshake is still the gold standard. It shouldn't be too weak, we call that a dead fish handshake, and it shouldn't be too strong, like you're trying to break their hand. Just a firm 2-second grip with direct eye contact.
Eye contact. That's the hard pack for me. In some cultures, looking a senior person directly in the eyes can be seen as rude, but here in New York, it's the opposite.
Precisely. To be honest, if you avoid eye contact here, people might think you're distracted or worse, that you're being dishonest. Eye contact says, I am listening to you and I respect what you are saying. If it feels too intense, here's a small trick. Look at the space between their eyebrows. It looks the same as eye contact, but feels much less stressful for you.
That is a lifesaver. I will definitely try that eyebrow trick. Okay, so let's say I've walked in, I've smiled, I've given a firm handshake, and I've kept eye contact. Now the silence begins. This is where I usually panic. What is the best way to start the actual talking part without sounding like a textbook?
Well, actually, the best way to start is with small talk. Many learners think small talk is a waste of time, but it's actually the social glue that holds a conversation together. In New York, time is money, so small talk is usually quick but friendly. A great way to start is by commenting on the immediate environment. You could say, "This office has an incredible view of the Empire State Building," or "It's quite a rainy day out there, isn't it? I'm glad I made it inside."
So use the environment as a bridge. That's clever. But what if they ask me, how are you? I always just say, I'm fine. It feels so boring. How can I answer that like a real New Yorker?
You're right, I'm fine is a bit of a conversation dead end. Try adding a hook. A hook is a small piece of information that the other person can grab onto. For example, I'm doing great, thank you. I just moved to this neighborhood last week, so I'm still exploring all the local cafes. Now the other person can ask you about your move or recommend a cafe. You've turned a boring question into a real conversation.
A hook. I like that. It's like fishing for a good conversation. But James, I have to ask about the elephant in the room, my English. Sometimes I'm so focused on my grammar that I forget to be friendly. I'm worried that if I make a mistake, like using the wrong tense, the first impression will be, this person doesn't know English well.
To be honest, Lily, most Americans, especially in a diverse city like this, don't care about perfect grammar. They care about communication. If you're engaged, if you're nodding, and if you're trying your best to express your ideas, that is what they will remember. They will remember your vibe, not your verbs.
Your vibe, not your verbs. That's a great quote. I should put that on a t-shirt. So if I say, I go to the store yesterday instead of I went to, they won't think less of me?
Not at all. They will understand you perfectly. If you show confidence even with incorrect grammar, you actually make a better impression than someone who has perfect grammar but is too shy to speak. Confidence is the most attractive quality in any language.
That makes me feel so much better. Now let's talk about a specific situation, a networking event. You're in a room full of strangers, everyone is talking, and you're standing there with your drink. How do you approach someone and make a great first impression in that New York minute?
A New York minute. I love that you're using that phrase. It means very quickly. In a networking event, the three-person rule is a good one. Look for a group of three people. Usually, there's a small gap in their circle. You can walk up, wait for a tiny pause, and say, "Hi there, do you mind if I join you? I'm Lily. I'm a student of marketing." It's direct, it's brave, and it's very New York.
Oh, wow, that sounds so bold. Just walking up and joining? I would be trembling, but I guess in a city this big, if you don't step forward, you stay invisible.
Exactly. And remember what we discussed about being a good listener. Once you join the group, you don't have to talk constantly. Listen to what they are saying. Give active feedback. Use phrases like, "That's fascinating," or "I see what you mean," or even just "right." This shows you're processing the information. A person who listens well often makes a better impression than a person who talks too much.
That's a relief. I can definitely say, that's fascinating, while I think of what to say next. But what about names? I'm terrible with names. If I meet someone and forget their name 5 seconds later, is the first impression ruined?
Well, it happens to the best of us. Actually, New Yorkers are very practical. If you forget, just be honest and say it quickly. "I'm so sorry, I'm terrible with names. Could you remind me of yours one more time?" Do it sooner rather than later. If you wait 20 minutes, it becomes awkward. To help you remember, try to repeat their name as soon as they say it. "Hi, I'm Mark. Nice to meet you, Mark." Hearing yourself say it helps lock it into your memory.
Lock it into my memory. Got it. Repeat the name, be honest if you forget. Now, I want to talk about something a bit more modern. First impressions on camera. Nowadays, so many meetings happen on Zoom or Skype. Does the 7-second rule still apply through a computer screen?
It absolutely does, maybe even more so. On a screen, your frame is your first impression. If your camera is too low and we can see up your nose, or if your room is too dark, it sends a message of I am not prepared. To make a professional impression, make sure your camera is at eye level and you have some light on your face. And remember, even though you are at home, you should still dress appropriately.
So, no pajamas for a job interview, even if they can only see my head and shoulders?
Ha, definitely no pajamas. Even if they can't see your pants, wearing professional clothes changes your internal state. You feel more like a professional, so you speak more like a professional. It's all about how you feel inside.
That is such a deep point. The way we dress and the way we stand isn't just for others, it's for ourselves. It builds our own confidence. James, this has been incredibly helpful. I feel like the first impression isn't a scary monster anymore. It's just a series of small, manageable steps.
I'm so glad to hear that, Lily. It's a skill, just like learning English. You practice, you make mistakes, you learn, and you get better. Every person you meet is a new chance to be the best version of yourself.
A new chance to be the best version of yourself. I love that. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, from handshakes to Zoom calls, from posture to small talk hooks. I think our listeners have a lot to think about.
Indeed, they do. But don't go anywhere yet, because in the next part of our show, we are going to dive deep into the specific vocabulary we use today. We'll explain how to use those golden words in different situations so you can sound even more natural.
That's right, don't move an inch. We'll be right back after this short break to talk about our golden vocabulary. Stay tuned. And we are back. I hope you all had a chance to stretch your legs and maybe grab a glass of water. Now, as promised, James and I are going to take a closer look at the golden vocabulary from our earlier conversation. These are the words that will truly elevate your English and help you sound more natural when you're making those all-important first impressions.
That's right, Lily. Learning vocabulary isn't just about memorizing a list. It's about understanding the flavor of the word, how and when to use it. Our first word for today is a big one, authenticity.
Authenticity. That sounds very formal, James. Can you break it down for us?
Of course, authenticity comes from the word authentic, which means real or genuine. In a social context, especially here in the US, authenticity is highly valued. It means being yourself rather than putting on a mask. To be honest, in New York, people can see through a fake personality very quickly. When you show authenticity, you show that you are trustworthy.
So, if I'm nervous in an interview and I say, to be honest, I'm a little nervous because I really care about this position, is that showing authenticity?
Exactly, that is a perfect example. Instead of trying to act like a robot who has no feelings, you are being real. It makes you more relatable, which is interestingly our second word, relatable.
Relatable. I hear this word all the time on social media and in podcasts. What does it actually mean in a conversation?
If something or someone is relatable, it means you can understand them because you have had similar experiences or feelings. When you share a small mistake or a funny story about your morning, you become relatable. It builds a bridge between you and the other person. For example, your story about getting lost on the subway is so relatable. It happened to me on my first day here too.
I see. So being relatable helps break the ice. There's that idiom again. Okay, let's move to our third item. This one isn't just a word, it's a very common phrase. Rule of thumb.
I love this phrase. A rule of thumb is a general principle or a broad rule that is based on experience rather than exact science. It's a handy guide. Well, actually, the origin of the phrase is quite old, but today we use it for practical advice. For instance, a good rule of thumb for New York weather is always to carry a small umbrella in your bag, just in case.
That is a very useful rule of thumb for this city. And in our talk about first impressions, you mentioned a rule of thumb for dressing up, right?
Yes, the rule of thumb was to dress one level above the occasion. It's not a law, but it's a very helpful guide to ensure you make a respectful impression.
Got it. Our fourth word is something I definitely need to practice. Open-ended, as in open-ended questions.
This is a crucial tool for any English learner. An open-ended question is a question that requires more than a yes or no answer. It opens the conversation. If you ask, "Do you like New York?" that's a closed question. But if you ask, "What is your favorite thing about living in New York?" that is open-ended. It invites the other person to tell a story and share their feelings.
It puts the ball in their court, so to speak. It makes the conversation much easier for me because I get to listen while they talk.
Precisely. And our final word for this session is resilience.
Resilience. This sounds like a very strong word.
It is. Resilience is the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. It's about toughness. We mentioned this in the context of a bad first impression. If you make a mistake, resilience is what allows you to smile, apologize, and keep going without letting it ruin your day. In a fast-paced environment like Manhattan, resilience is perhaps the most respected quality. It shows you have a strong character.
I love that. So even if my first 7 seconds are a disaster, my resilience can save the next 7 minutes.
That's a great way to put it, Lily. These 5 items, authenticity, relatable, rule of thumb, open-ended, and resilience are your golden tools.
They really are. To our listeners, try to pick just one of these today. Write it down, try to use it in a sentence, or think of a situation where it applies to you.
That's the best way to learn. Don't try to master all of them at once. Just start with one.
Well, James, we've analyzed the words, and now it's time for the final part of our show. We're going to slow things down and talk about the deeper meaning behind all of this.
I'm looking forward to it. Let's move into our final thoughts. As we sit here in this studio, watching the lights of New York begin to flicker on, I want to leave our listeners with a thought that goes beyond words or clothes. We spend so much energy worrying about how the world sees us. We wonder, is my English good enough, or do I look professional? But the truth is, the most important first impression is the one you have of yourself when you look in the mirror each morning.
That is so true, James. If I don't believe in myself, it's hard to make anyone else believe in me. But how do we build that inner confidence when we are in a new country or speaking a new language?
It starts with changing your focus. Instead of walking into a room and asking yourself, do these people like me? Try asking, am I interested in these people? When you shift your focus from being impressive to being interested, your anxiety disappears. You are no longer performing, you're connecting. Curiosity is the best cure for fear.
Curiosity is the best cure for fear. That is a beautiful thought. It means that if I am busy learning about you, I don't have time to worry about my own mistakes.
Precisely. And remember, your accent, your background, and even your small stumbles are not weaknesses. They are parts of your story. In a city like New York, people value resilience and authenticity more than perfection. Perfection is boring. Growth is exciting.
I feel so much lighter hearing that. To summarize for everyone listening, first, remember that your body language speaks before you do. Stand tall and smile. Second, use open-ended questions to show you are interested in others. Third, give yourself a rule of thumb to be kind to yourself when you make mistakes. And finally, have the resilience to keep going because every conversation is a new chance to grow.
Well said, Lily. You've captured the essence of it perfectly.
Thank you, James, for all your wisdom today. And to our listeners, we have a question for you. What is one small thing you will do differently the next time you meet someone new? Will you try a new small talk hook or maybe focus on your posture?
We would love to hear your thoughts. Remember, every master was once a beginner. Keep practicing, keep being curious, and most importantly, keep being yourself.
We'll see you in the next episode as we continue to explore the language and the mindset you need to succeed.